Hello viewers, welcome to the web series on the philosophy, psychology and strategy of civil services exam. Today I am going to start a very important topic, that is the important mistakes made by the students while preparing for this civil service exam. The first major mistake they make is that they are not able to analyze the changes made by UPSC in the pattern of civil service exam. To be frank, this is not much the mistake of the student, because it is the responsibility of the teachers and the coaching centers to provide students this analysis. But many students don't give themselves the sufficient time. They are in a hurry, and themselves they think that it is only about the subject knowledge. Also, their situation demands that they take a very quick decision regarding a coaching center, and then they submit themselves to the coaching center. So the very important part of the planning and the strategy is missed, which will have its implication in your preparation. So that way, indirectly, it is the mistake committed by the students as well. So many people use the term that the syllabus has changed or revised, but it is not just a change or a revision of the syllabus, but the syllabus is actually evolving. We are not sure in future what can happen. There can be devolution as well. We can again go back from where the UPSC started. Uh, but as of now, for the past 2 decades, there has been the evolution only in the positive direction. What is this evolution? Basically, the proportion of intellectual quotient is increasing, and the proportion of intelligence quotient is decreasing. That is why, if you have been a topper or a super achiever in your school or college, uh, or in some higher institutions, that is not a guarantee that you will make it into the bureaucracy at the central level. So, regarding this difference between intelligence and intellect, I have discussed previously, but in short, it is required to be discussed here. So, I'm discussing it again. In intelligence, it is just required that the candidate is able to understand the information given in any subject. If you are able to have a grasp over that knowledge, uh, then you are intelligent. And in that scheme of examination, it is not expected that the candidate would raise question on the information itself. They are not trained in this way to develop their original thinking. Whereas when it comes to intellect, then development of original thinking is required. Intellect is about your ability to understand the abstract concepts. Abstract are those concepts which exist in your mind. They don't exist in physical form. For example, democracy, for example, God, for example, nation, for example, secularism, justice, equality. So some of you who are having uh, doubt about this, I use the word God and nation. If you are thinking God is about the idol worship, uh, then it is not. And nation is about territory or citizens itself, then that is also not the complete way of looking at it. So it this again itself, we can have a separate video on it, but I think this should have clarified the major point which I am trying to make. Now I will give you the proof regarding this. If I talk about 2002, then the science subjects were revised in such a way that the science students also started opting for optional, uh, the social science subjects. And the weightage of optional subject was so high because there was optional subject in prelims and there were two optional subjects in mains. Uh, so that was the era of the dominance of social science subjects, and so many teachers also became so famous at that point of time, and the weightage of GS was not that much as compared to optional subjects, so students also took it lightly. But yes, pay attention to the fact that there was a shift from science to social science, and science is more about intelligence and social science is more about intellect. And after this 2010, uh, in the prelims, the optional subject was removed, and it was only the GS over there. And then there were two optional subjects in the mains. Out of that, also one optional subject was removed. So the weightage of general studies increased to a great extent. So this was also about giving more weightage to the intellectual part of it, because UPSC is expecting that you develop your original thinking. You should have the ability to take the right stand on the issues. By the way, this is also mentioned in the mains guideline. The very first quality demanded by UPSC is the intellect only. So if we look at the scheme of the examination and if we compare it with the previous scheme, then you will have absolute confidence uh, over what I am saying. If we look at the prelims examination today, we have two GS papers. GS1 has 100 questions for 200 marks and GS2 has 80 questions for 200 marks. GS2 is qualifying in nature, 33% qualifying marks for GS2. So we can see that previously the optional subject used to be for 300 marks and GS was for 150 marks. And now both papers for GS. So the weightage has increased from 33.3% to 100% in the very first stage itself in the prelims. It's a big thing. The way you conduct the examination, accordingly the students will have to develop their capabilities. So they are forcing you to think in this context. By the way, general studies is more about having the ability to correlate the information provided by various subjects. That is why so many subjects are being uh, asked in this civil service exam. If you study them, automatically the mind would do the processing and you will have uh, some sort of integration at your level, individual level. But if you do it consciously with the right trainer, then the results will be phenomenal for you. And then mains is not a big thing. Now coming to the main examination. Currently in the mains, essay is asked for 250 marks, and that too, uh, there are two essays worth 125 marks each. Previously, only one essay used to be asked for 200 marks. So increase from 200 to 250 marks. Essay is highly intellectual. Just one statement over there, and you have to write 1250 words on that statement. You are presenting your complete personality in front of the evaluator, your thought process over there. So by increasing this weightage of essay, they are going to go much deeper into your thought process. So just one essay was not sufficient. They would correlate, they would see whether there is integration in your thought process. Many students have this misunderstanding that social science subjects are uh, means first of all they have very low opinion about the social science subjects, that only those who cannot get admission into the science or commerce, they get entry into social science. By the way, if tomorrow the government decides that we will be paying handsome packages to people, if tomorrow the government decides that we will be paying handsome packages to people going for social science subjects, then everybody will go for social science subjects, because for them it is actually not the subject is not the matter. The real matter is your career, your package, how much you are going to earn out of it. That is your uh, thought process behind the decision you are taking. And because science subjects are promoted that way, that is why people are having so high regard for the science subjects. So this is about essay. Then about the GS paper in mains. Previously, there used to be one GS paper. Uh, due, means pap- there was GS paper divided into two parts for 300 marks each. So it was for 600 marks. And now we have four GS papers, 250 marks each. And so 1000 marks for general studies, from 600 to 1000. By the way, I will give you the percentage as well, because percentage wise the increase is even more drastic if we compare it with the increase in terms of the marks. And optional subject, there used to be two optional subjects, 600 marks each, so 1200 marks optional subject. Now optional subject 250 marks only. An interview used to be for 300 marks, now it is for 275 marks. But even after reduction in number of marks, percentage wise it is more. And there used to be two qualifying exams, English and Indian language. Even now we have two qualifying papers, English and Indian language, for 300 marks each. and the qualifying marks are 25% only. Interview was for 300 marks, now it is for 275 marks. But because the total marks earlier was 2300 and now it is 2025. So when we look percentage wise, then optional subject weightage has decreased from 52.2% to 24.7%. And GS weightage has increased from 26% to 49.4%. And not just that, anyways, I have told you how to look at the general studies, what is the significance of GS over the optional subject. But even within that, the introduction of this GS paper 4, that is ethics, integrity and aptitude, this is very special. It is, uh, it will force you to develop this aptitude and original thinking. And the word ethics, I hope you understand, it's about morality, integrity is about honesty, and aptitude is about your suitability for this particular civil services. And essay has increased from 8.7% to 12.3%. Interview, even though there is decline from 300 to 275, but percentage wise, it is increased 13% to 13.6%. So now you have the clarity that this is not just a change in the examination pattern, but it is a very clarion call from UPSC to every candidate to develop their character and intellectual caliber and not just take civil service exam as an academic exam. To throw more light upon this evolution, see, the higher the level in the decision making, the better decision making is expected from the people. So if you would look at the questions asked in the grade C services exam, then there are grade B services, and then this is grade A, the topmost, the union civil service. You will find that uh, in those, the lower the grade, it is more about facts over there and less about concepts. And the higher the grade, then it will be more about the concepts. And the best of the highest grade, it is not just the concepts plus the analysis, your original views. So many questions are asked where the question is asking for your view on that particular issue. So, uh, yeah, regarding C, I have made a point initially that there can be devolution as well. So, if they want to devolve it, if they want to run this country, if they want that even at the highest level of bureaucracy, people should not have this original independent thinking. They can go back to the previous pattern. They can start asking those two markers, the factual things and all. And that is how the devolution will happen. It will not be in the interest of the country, by the way. But how many people are having this ability to understand how these changes in the examinations can lead to the development of the potential of the next generation? how it can create leadership amongst the citizens, amongst the youth. By the way, uh, whatever is being expected at the level of civil service examination now, there is no reason that this sort of knowledge cannot be provided in the schools. Last year, there was a news regarding that uh, some paper like ethics, integrity, aptitude, something like that would be introduced at the board level, at the class 10 level. If it happens, it will be a very good thing to happen. Also, if you would have noticed in your report cards, there are some certain sections, but for in majority of the schools, the teachers themselves would fill those columns, uh, and students are not trained in those areas. Areas like your extracurricular activities, uh, hobbies, achievement, and things like that. Your leadership, uh, public speaking, debate, things like that. Uh, in the developed countries, the education system focus upon those abilities. Right from the lower grades, they focus upon developing this ability to speak, ability to have a worldview, ability to have the decisions, to make the decisions. And it is more about storytelling over there. It is more about inspiration over there. It is more about positivity over there. But in this country of ours, uh, regarding this education system, we do have so many areas of concern. But as the world is getting globalized, I think it became uh, important for uh, our country, or there might have been some pressure from the top, from the above, regarding developing the potential of our bureaucrats so that they can be at par with uh, with these developments happening in other parts of the world. Just memorizing the news, who became the president in this particular country, or our prime minister went over there, we had this agreement with this particular country, Russia is going to provide us this missile can go to that much range. This kind of information does not develop your uh, ability to take the right decisions. This kind of information does not promote your ability to understand the common good. Such information does not create the potential to stand for the order. Order is a very powerful word. Even if you ask a kid whether there should be an order in society or there should be disorder in society, so the kid can also tell that there has to be order in society. But if you ask how do you ensure there will be order in society? Then even the educated people are not able to answer this thing. Now this is miseducation. This is incomplete education. But the way the exam has evolved now, civil service exam, it is expected you should have this ability. And it is very important to look at this examination qualitatively and not just quantitatively. By the way, they have not left a scope for you now. Very few questions are uh, belonging to one particular subject now, straight from the book. Very few questions like that. Majority of them are interdisciplinary in nature, and you have to give your independent uh, views over there. And there is a word called hypocrisy, and you have to be very watchful about this, that you do not prove yourself to be a hypocrite uh, over there in front of them in terms of your views, what you are presenting in the main examination. This happens because there is no integration, and in your quest to solve a question, you take a particular stand in one particular question, and in another question, again, you think this is the demand of the question, and you take a stand accordingly without even thinking that what you might be writing now, the stand you might be taking now, is antithetical to what uh, to your previous stand. So this is the loophole in your strategy. It is your assumption that the examiner is only will only look at question on case by case basis. This is the question. This is the no. That is not true. That is not true. Mains is the written psychological test going on, and when they are evaluating your answers, they are looking at your potential to be uh, the public speaker over there, and maybe you get a chance to represent India at the global forums. Definitely, in this age of international journalism, even if you are located in any remote corner of the country, your interview might go viral throughout the world. So the reputation of the country is associated with the bureaucrats. So if you are not able to integrate your own thought process in the examination, then definitely uh, you will not be able to integrate your decisions, your words, uh, as the future bureaucrats, and that might lead to serious problems. The way the questions are asked, you can go and look at some of the interviews and the speeches of our uh, IFS, Indian Foreign Service officers, and they will be very helpful to you. Uh, and yeah, because they are representing India at the global forum. So you start from there. That will give you the lead. And because they have to maintain the highest levels of uh, integration, and they have to be concerned about the reputation of the country at the highest level. So regarding this point, what I have mentioned regarding your integrity in your thought process, uh, you can watch the videos of our IFS for officers, uh, as definitely by the foreign media, where they would be asking very difficult questions to them. So such videos will be very helpful to you. So today I would like to uh, stop here, and I do have many other points to be discussed in this, other important mistakes. Uh, and but what we have discussed here is the starting point, and now you have got the facts in front of you. So you will be able to have uh, confidence over the rest of the points I'm going to make. Uh, and regarding this, let me tell you, once you have the conviction, once you understand the expectations of UPSC, then uh, you will have the confidence to write answers in the main examination. Uh, Otherwise, you will keep on moving from one coaching center to another, and you will be getting your answers evaluated by n number of people with the hope that you know uh, you can learn from there. But the first thing, teachers come later. First, the UPSC comes. You should be concerned about UPSC first. And in the light of the knowledge provided by UPSC, then you should check the standards of the teachers. That is the right way to go about it. Okay, then see you tomorrow with our new video on the same topic, that is important mistakes committed by the students while preparing for the civil services exam. Thank you very much for listening.